What does it mean now that the fairgrounds funding for infrastructure has passed? What does this mean to you as a resident of Pahrump? I'm going to show you the video from the meeting where we passed the acceptance of assistance, and that's all that was done. There was no taxpayer money spent. But I will show you that video momentarily. But very quickly, I want to tell you what this means for you. This means that there's now infrastructure that is to come to that whole fairgrounds area on 160 there down south of Dandelion. And one of the things that I'm very interested in for this area is to take a lot of these parks, fields, things going on, Petrick Park, that area, and move a lot of that down there, potentially, like a pool, make a nicer pool and a nicer rodeo and more ballparks for kids and adults too. There is a developer that's very interested in that area. So this could mean for you as a Pahrump resident that we will finally get our TJ Maxx, finally get our Chili's, finally get our additional grocery store. That is what this means. That is on the table. This is not about personality politics. This isn't about getting anyone or not liking anyone or liking anyone. And unfortunately, in the history of Pahrump politics, as you know, a lot of the bad decisions, I think, that are made by people stems from a hatred of other people individually. And it's just got to stop. That's what I mean when I talk about corruption. That's corrupt. To destroy something that's good because you don't like someone who's bringing it up, that is corruption to me. So as you see, me and Commissioner Strickland, who often butt heads and I probably voted against her more than anybody else, we're on the same side on this. And it's interesting to watch. You'll see sort of how it plays out with the discussion. But again, this is a really, really good thing if you want to finally see a TJ Maxx, finally see retail shopping, finally see a pool that you have no fear for your life going in, or a park that doesn't have needles and drug addicts and vomit and all kinds of other crime going on in it. This is a very good step forward. So I hope you're as excited as I am that we could potentially start moving this stuff down to the fairgrounds. We'll talk about the rest later. No votes have been made, so no decisions have been made. All we did was accept a gift to allow for these things to potentially happen in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of I sort of followed that, and I think I don't want to try to explain what he said, although I think I understood, and I'm not sure if everyone did. I hope many of you did, with some of the things that are going on here with this particular piece of land. Jack Kemp used to say, "A rising tide lifts all boats," and it sort of reminds me of how we're growing here. And it may not be applicable to like supply side economics, but here in this town, we have these needs. And one of the things that maybe many people don't realize is that in recent weeks, I've been really pushing to try to maybe use this fairgrounds in a way to start with ball fields, maybe even moving the arena that we have up there, having a pool that people can actually use and not worry about getting stabbed at, but tragically happened a few years ago, and maybe even a park where there's not needles and drugs all over the place. So I think that there's some very practical things we need to look at, and that is that there's a fairgrounds fund with a bunch of money in it. We have a developer that's interested in, and I can't say too much about it, but someone's possibly interested in some of the land that we have some of these amenities on now. And so if we do want a TJ Maxx and we do want a Chili's and we do want these things, it appears to me like the only way we can do that is by relocating some of these amenities we have now that currently seem to be a home for people to come and run around naked or do drugs in, which is something that's just not really working. As a person who's been here I've been here 4 years, by the way, and as someone who's here and has a humbling task of being 20% of the government that possibly reforms a community where there's people who've lived here for so long, I have done my due diligence, if you will, and talked to people who've been here a really, really long time, some of these families that have a lot of land. And it's interesting how they all sort of embrace some of the change. And so with that, the thing that I'm concerned, and I'm not going to go into it. I know Commissioner Strickland would jump on me if I did, and I don't really want to. And I don't think I've ever been accused of supporting anything Commissioner Strickland's done, and I doubt she's been accused of doing the same for me. But in this, my only concern, the only reason I'm talking about this, is I do not like the language of the Civic Center because of all this the Civic Center has been called. And I'm not going to read it all, but I have it. And it makes me very concerned because we have documents going back years about what the Civic Center is, and people who have said what the Civic Center is, our current finance I have quotes from people who describe what this Civic Center is, and that makes me nervous. I understand that don't believe what you read, just believe what we're telling you, but that doesn't work for me. So now I've got this problem where I don't know, and it's interesting, there's two sides to the coin. We've got people who are willing to shut down a government, for example, because they don't want to vote on something that's destructive. And then you had President Reagan, who was willing to go along with things that he saw as destructive because, in his words, he wears the white hat. And one of the reasons why I wear a white hat. So I really want to see a safe park and safe ball fields and more ball fields and all of this stuff. And I'm conflicted with the word Civic Center. We don't have a whip office, so I can't call the whip and say, how many votes do we have on this? I think there's 3 votes right now at least for this to pass. So what I'd likely do is wait for my vote until the end. Ideally, if it was just me, I would want to remove the language that discusses the Civic Center in here. I don't even think it's possible under contract law to just remove it and counteroffer it, but I don't think there's an appetite for that. That's what I would ask in order to vote for this. But I'm not going to vote at all until I know which direction this is going, because I don't know that I'm willing to be the person responsible for killing this. If anyone wants to engage in a floor debate with me on that or just discussion, I'm happy with that. I really am. It's just we have this open meeting. It's kind of funny, people who say they're for free speech like the open meeting law. It sort of chills free speech, really, to me. And it's never been challenged, by the way. It's never been challenged on chilling free speech. One place, Texas, challenged it for some trivial reason, and it got set aside in federal district court. But open meeting, to me, chills free speech, and it chills what we do up here in a really destructive way that I think is unconstitutional. But I'm not going to be the one in the next 8 years to push that forward. So I don't know if there's anything. I believe I don't need to do a straw poll. I think it's going to pass regardless. But I am very supportive of moving this forward. I would like to move, and I know it's off topic. I'm not trying to do that. I do want to move this forward. And the reason why it's not off topic is because it's very important for people to understand the rationale and the reasoning behind what we're doing today, because it does fit very logically in other things. So for me, I want to see this infrastructure down there. I don't have any problems with any of the infrastructure. My problem is the reference of the Civic Center. And I know that's a separate vote, but it still gives me tremendous pause. That's not possible to remove that. Is that correct? I have to ask. I know it's probably no, but I have to ask if that's even possible.
The agenda item's written either approve, disapprove, or amend.
It would be a counteroffer, which would be a disapproval.
It would be an amendment to the MOU.
I would assume our DA is up there.
And again, if you don't need my vote, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I can explain
You are a supporter, though, of field.
I am a supporter of the infrastructure. I just don't like the words, the civic. And I don't know how far Commissioner Jabbour goes with that same problem, or he was just mentioning that because I know he saw what I saw, and that's my concern. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry, Commissioner. I think we're on the same page with this.
Actually, several days ago, I mentioned to another commissioner that I also did not like the fact that that word was in there. And I was told that Valley Electric had done the MOU quite some time ago, and we were kind of stuck with it. So there we are.
I don't think there's a legal reason we can't amend that and send it back.
May I speak?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
And only because I was the other commissioner that spoke with Koenig. And, of course, I'm scared to death to change the MOU in any fashion because of the commitment that Valley Electric has already done by going to their board. And I'll read that history to you. So I'm just going to, when the chair is ready to give me time, I just want to say, you guys are having this discussion, but I want you to think, does the word Civic Center scare you so bad that you would want to lose the $1 million infrastructure agreement that we have in front of us? That's all I want to say. What if? They sent it back to Valley Electric and they didn't like it. That's all I have to say. Thank
The
you.
Civic Center is a completely separate and different vote down the road, if it ever came
Correct.
forward. So
This document says the parties agree to cooperate in good faith with the Civic Center moving forward. So the problem with this contract is if we do not move forward with the Civic Center, is it a minor breach? Is it a
No,
material breach?
It says,
I don't know.
it says in the first paragraph, the possibility of a civic center. Like Commissioner Boscovich said, the civic center would be something that this board would have to vote on because obviously it would be a substantial amount of money to ever bring it to fruition. The priority that we've discussed with Valley Electric has been a possible new arena, soccer fields, finish the OHV park, the lighting, all of that stuff. Civic Center, if it was ever to move forward, again, will be a very substantial cost, would have to come much later.
You know, we would really run out of that $1 million by then. Truly, guys, if we get to do everything that we plan on doing, there will be no $1 million left to go to the Civic Center.
Commissioner Strickland, did you spend a lot of time with them to do this? Is that what's going on? Did you spend time to try to secure this funding? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, I would love to tell the story when you're prepared.
No, that's fine.
I mean, I brought the documentation to share with the public, sir, if the chair's ready.
You can go ahead and make your
Have
Excuse me,
further
Chair.
discussion if we want.
Vice Chair,
Go ahead. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
excuse me, thank you very much. You know, three of us commissioners have stated that we are uncomfortable with the verbiage of Pahrump Civic Center, and hopefully the CEO of VEA, Robbie, is still on the line. And if you don't mind, I'd like to get him on the line and ask. He has heard, hopefully, all of the public comment, all of the public concerns, all of our concerns as commissioners representing our constituents for this project. And I'd like to hear from him where I don't think that we're at risk at all in changing the
That's a good
verbiage.
call,
Very good,
Commissioner.
very good idea, Commissioner. Sam, do we still have Robbie on the line, please?
Yes, Chair, we do. Please speak and spell your name for the record.
Hey, Robbie Hamlin, ROBBY, HAMLIN, CEO of Valley Electric. Yes, I have been listening. I kind of inherited that language whenever we first started the MOU as far as involving the Civic Center. Valley's intent is not to specify what, specifically goes on the land down there that we're looking at. Again, I inherited that language of Civic Center. If the commission sees fit to want to make a change to arena or facility or something along that line, Valley does not have an objection to that. Our intent is to make a commitment and make to the community. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, our intent is to contribute to the community and install the infrastructure. What ends up going down there, I think, is more of that's County Commission decision, Town of Pahrump decision. We're here to provide the infrastructure. I think it's your so we're perfectly good with making a tweak to that language if needed.
Thank you, sir. May we amend this to outbuildings instead of, or whatever terminology, or Commissioner Jabbour, do you want to do a motion on that to just remove?
Chair, if I could.
I'm sorry.
Chair, I had a suggestion, and I know this word's come up and people were challenging the definition, but I honestly would suggest, I think the smartest thing to do, and given particularly what VA is indicating is the generic nature of what they're doing, is I would recommend using the word fairground, and I would like to address some of the concerns about what does a fairground mean. I think people are over-reading this, and I've gone to a thesaurus, okay? And similar words for fairground include a course, golf course, green, park, range, stadium, track, amphitheater, battlefield, gridiron, grounds, playground, race course, theater, all right? We are trying to limit a definition of a word that is a very generic word. And I think that a fairground would be the best word that actually describes what potentially will be used on that acreage that we have that we want to develop.
Thank you, Mr. D. I think that's fine. I personally am not concerned in any way about legal calling it a fairground. I don't think that anybody cares, and there's no legal suit there out in the world to do something like that. So if we can amend this in some way, I advise maybe Commissioner Jabbour could do this, just motioning to just accept it on behalf of the fairgrounds without the language of the Civic Center. I would be all in favor of it, and that would be wonderful if that's possible. I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If I would make the motion that you just simply eliminate the word or substitute the word anywhere in the agreement that talks about the Civic Center to change that to fairground, and that would be an appropriate motion.
I agree. Who's motioning?
So everybody's in agreement? Okay, so sounds like we're going to make an amendment to this motion, but I still would like to read this to the public and to the commissioners, because as stated by Commissioner Bayne, he had asked, had I been working along on this? And so I thought I would say that, a lot of you haven't been here through this whole entire process, and I feel blessed that you're here today, because today is what matters. And so you may not have had the vision or even living here at the time that we started this, but so you might know the history that in 1999, BLM gave us 427.24 acres through a patent. That's now your fairgrounds property.
Commissioners, do you guys have anything else to add at this moment, or are we ready for a motion? Madam Clerk.
Do you want me to try the motion? I don't really care. I'd like to motion to approve item 17, the memorandum of understanding, also known as a contract, but to remove all references of the words Civic Center and to replace it with fairgrounds, and otherwise to direct appropriate staff to make a general blanket term of fairgrounds the recipient from any benefit being conferred by anyone to the county or town. How's that?
And execute the MOU?
Did we have a
May I second that at least? I'm glad the commissioner motioned. I'm not sure, but thank you.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. And
He's asking
Time, did he do B, execute the MOU?
I would like to amend my motion to execute the MOU.
With the previous language. With the previous language.
okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Where's I?
Boscovich, aye. That carries 5-0. Thank you.